This is Aaron Golub, host of the Blind Ambition podcast. We'll be bringing you world-class leaders, entrepreneurs, and athletes, people who have overcome obstacles and used their ambition to create enormous success in their lives. If you enjoy this podcast, if you get anything out of it, the only thing I'll ever ask is that you subscribe, rate, and review. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you all for tuning in today. I'm your host, Aaron Golub, and today I'm joined by Justin Breen. Justin, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. You have a high-level way of thinking, and it's just beginning for you, so it'll be great to see how your career evolves.
Yeah, thank you. And, given your experience, your long journey as an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur, a visionary, a connector, I wanted to get you on the show, share your knowledge with my listeners. Walk me through the mentality you had when, I know you were a journalist previously, and then you decided to go out and start your, own PR firm. What made you take that leap, take that jump, and really want to go into that entrepreneurial space?
Yeah, so you say the word, journey, right? I hear blah, 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 and then I just simplify everything and see patterns. Yeah. Okay, so that's my skill set. I'm a 100% simplifier, right? So journey, that's the key. It's a journey. And so my company, it's really not that long of a journey. I started in 2017, and it's already surpassed my wildest dreams, and now I realize it's only the beginning. Just started, it's already surpassed my wildest dreams. So I just have the right mindset, which creates the right network, which creates the right opportunities. So no sales, nothing outbound. You just have the right mindset, creates the right network, and creates the right opportunities. But if you start at the beginning of that journey, it explains what separates entrepreneurs from people that aren't entrepreneurs. And so the start of that journey is I'll give you the timeline. February 10th, 2017, I was a journalist working full-time. Had a 5-minute meeting with the company's owner and managing editor, and they cut my salary in half just because that's what happens in journalism. I'd done nothing wrong, and just that's what happened. So tried to find a full-time job, couldn't find a job. Incorporated my company, which is pronounced BrEpic, April 16th, 2017. So the next 6 weeks, while I worked full-time at half the salary and was doing this, I reached out to 5,000 people to get my first 5 clients. So 1 out of 1,000 people said yes, 999 no's for every yes. I got the 5th client, it was like June 1st, 2017, it was something like that. Then I resigned from my job the next day, and then Robert Feeder, he's the top media columnist in the Midwestern part of the United States, did a story. I'd started my own firm. I think that was June 5th, 2017. So that's just the start. I mean, that's just the start, just to get it started. And most people just can't. They just can't do that. That's why they can't become entrepreneurs, because they're not capable of putting themselves in that type of. They just can't do it, and so that's how it is.
And I think one of the things that stands out for me, and I think a lot of people don't understand, is really focus in on you reached out to 5,000 people, and 1% of them are less than 1%.
No.
1% of them.
Yeah, right. 1%. That'd be great.
It's such a low margin, and people don't understand that in the space that you're in the space that I'm in, and any entrepreneurial really role, it's so hard to get those few clients. And so, what were you doing mentally to get through that?
Mentally, yeah. Mentally is the key. Mentally. So let me answer it like this. So since I started this journey, now I run a global PR firm that only works with the top mindset people in the world. Okay, so all clients around the world, all industries, none of that matters. None of it.
Yep.
Okay, so because I have the right mindset, creates the right network, creates the right opportunities, and I will continue to say that because that's all this is. All this other stuff's landing the plane. And so you asked about mentally. So what separates entrepreneurs from everyone else, this is the real entrepreneur life. People see this as sunshine and rainbows, and no. So what separates entrepreneurs from everyone else is, since starting my company, I've talked to thousands of the most successful, smartest, most brilliant people, and I'm in groups with those people now. I'm in 3 of the top entrepreneurial groups in the world, and big investments, but good investments. But so I've talked to thousands of them, and I have not met one, not a single one of them, who has not overcome at least one of the following 4 things, because I'm 100% simplifier to pattern. I just see this over and over. So here are the 4 things. This is it. So you either can handle this or you can't. Most people can't. So the 4 things are bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy, 2, depression, 3, the highest level of anxiety you can imagine, and 4, likely and or possible traumatic experience as a child or young adult. So I have not met one who has not overcome at least one of those things. Most are 2 or 3. The all 4 ones, those are the really successful ones. The like out of this world. Yeah, because so mentally, right? So most people can't handle that. So that's why they get a job or they fizzle out. But the really successful entrepreneurs, not only can they handle it, they just use it as fuel. They use it as fuel. And so that's where you either have that or you don't. You can teach your mindset, but you're either born that way or you're not. And most people are not born that way; they're just not. So, which is fine, but that's what it is.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that so many people just aren't able to do that, and that's why they don't take the risk, don't go down the path of being an entrepreneur.
Right. There's not even risk is a good word there. They would never do it. And so like my wife, she's the exact opposite personality as me. Loving, warm, caring, rules, order, meetings, all that, whatever that stuff is. And so she's a pediatrician, and she's made me somewhat of a human, somewhat, and then I've made her more of a risk taker, but she would never be an entrepreneur. And that's fine. That's fine. I love the fact that I married the exact opposite personality as me, and then our kids are a perfect blend of that, our 2 sons who are 6 and 8. But no, most people aren't, they're not visionary. They're just not, they're very happy doing what they like to do, and they like rules, they like order. Entrepreneurs, no. No, different brain.
Yeah. And that's fine. You don't need to, color outside the lines, so to speak. But I think my point there, someone like you, someone like me, someone who really is a visionary, wants to create something greater than themselves and wants to leave an insane legacy.
That's it. That's you. I mean, that's it. And so that's it. And so you heard me talking on a podcast. I believe it was Chris Ross's. I believe it wasn't. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So Chris and I've never met him, but we've talked to him, and I'm separated. I highly recommend people listen to his podcast. He's a great guy, and that's why we're talking. But he and I were separated at birth somehow. We're both aliens. We're both visionaries, and we both want to leave a legacy. That's different than managing people. Big difference between managing people and leading. We're just leaders. We just want to create the ideas, and then folks follow through on that. And that's what it's about. It's about really creating a legacy. And someone asked me the other day, it's like, who do you work with? Who do you partner with? I go, I partner with the top 0.1% of mindsets. It's interesting that's 0.1% of the people became my clients, right? Or, 0.1%. So I only work with the 0.1% of mindsets, because those are the people that create the companies, that create the legacies that actually employ the billions of people. So by working with that very small minority, I don't care what they do, none of that matters. It's their mindset. I'm actually helping billions of people. So that's the way I look at it.
No, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that you mentioned Chris Ross, because I got connected to him, I think, in September or August, and we had a call or a Zoom. And then immediately after I went on his podcast, he went on my podcast, and I'm actually talking to him again next week. He's just become a close friend and a mentor of mine.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, so one of the chapters in my book, which is an international bestseller, and Chris Voss, who wrote Never Split the Difference, did the foreword. So anyone has read Never Split the Difference and knows who Chris Voss is. So one of the chapters in my book is your clients become your friends, your friend become your clients, because most people don't understand the way my brain works, but my friends do, because they're all entrepreneur visionary wackadoos like me. I mean, the regular people don't understand me. They have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's okay, because I'm very intentional about that. And more importantly, I know who I am, I know who my tribe is, and I certainly know who's not. And a lot of entrepreneurs get into trouble. Get into trouble because they try to be everything for everyone, and I'm no, 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 no. My
Yeah.
company is one insanely high level genius thing for one insanely high level genius type of person, and
Yeah.
that's where I am.
Talk about, both being intentional and having awareness, because I think that those are two, and you mentioned part of that, but I think that
Separate
those
but
are two
equal. Separate but equal.
really important things for entrepreneurs.
Separate but equal. So you're either an entrepreneur, you're either born like this or you're not. You're either born like this or you're not. Most people are not born like this, which is fine. But you can work on that mindset. You can work on the awareness of being aware of who you are and, again, who you are not. I'm very intentional with how I talk and how I communicate. Very intentional. There's no, for people who don't get it, it might sound like rambling. The people who do get it, they will key in and be like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. It's very intentional. Because what my company is, it's not a, I mean, it's a PR firm. I was a journalist for 20 years and created my entire business model based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. So I just saw a problem, created a solution, problem solved, whatever. I had no business background when I started this. Now I run a global company. But I'm very intentional because it's a magnet that attracts the people that I was talking about, and then it repels everyone else. And the people that
Yeah.
are attracted to it are the ones leaving the legacy. And so awareness, that's what you work on. You can work on that mindset and being aware of who you are and who you're not every single day. And so I don't watch a lot of TV, but I read a lot of books, and Chris is like this too. We just look at it. We scan a lot of books. So when I get bored, which I'm a visionary, so I get bored, I just read. I scan books that have really good mindset tactics or business development or thinking about the way you think or just things like that. And then I'm just like a sponge,
Yeah.
constantly a sponge.
And talk about that whole scanning book thing, because I know you mentioned that in Chris's podcast as well. And for me, it's a little different in the sense of, like, I don't physically read books. I have to do
Right.
audiobooks because of my vision, and so it's hard for me to just like scan books. But talk about that concept.
Interesting. Boy, that's super interesting. Boy, that's an interesting point you made there. You can't necessarily scan and you don't know where to fast forward to.
Exactly. Most books I have to just read start to finish. It's hard for me to find something in the middle.
Wow, that's fascinating. I wonder how that's developed other superpowers within your brain. That would be interesting to me. Well, I will answer it. I will answer it the way this would be helpful to you. I'll answer it the way that I do it. Is when I get someone's book, I go, what part should I read? What's the most important part? I ask them directly. And they tell me, because I told them, I'm not going to read this whole book. Tell me the chapter or the prologue or what, just tell me, because I'm not going to read the whole book. Because it's not important to read the whole book. It's important to get the stuff that actually matters. And because I'm a simplifier, I just want the most important stuff. I don't care about all the fluff nonsense. Just give me the most important stuff.
Yeah.
That's what my book is, by the way. It's just the most important stuff. It's boom, 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 boom. No garbage. Just tell you this is it. That's it.
That's interesting. It's a great way to go about reading, and I think a lot of people do that because it's important to read, but it's not important to read every single last word.
Oh. Yeah, the most important resource is time. Nothing more annoying to me than a time vampire, someone who just wastes your time. Don't waste my time. Take action. Don't talk, take action. Get stuff done. And the people I work with, partner with, whether you want to call them clients or partners, whatever. They're partners, really. They don't waste my time. They just want results. People at the highest level, and I only work with people with visionary abundance investment mindset. It's those three attributes because I'm a simplifier and I see patterns. So people with those three attributes, they only fit into two buckets. Only two. There's not three, there's only two. And so they're either running in US dollars, they're running high 6-figure to 10-figure businesses. They see their families whenever they want to and they do what they like to do and what they're good at. Or they're going to be one of those people. They're not there yet, but they will because they have those three attributes. So those only people, it just eliminates nonsense. That's all it does.
Exactly.
That's
I think people only truly become that successful when they understand the concept that your time is worth more than your money.
100%. Don't waste my time. And I just posted this the other day. I have about over 40,000 followers on social media. Most of them are high-level entrepreneurs and they're journalists. And so I just posted this the other day. I just saying, being able to understand or how to say no always leads to the right yes. So I say no all the time. And the biggest time I say no is when people are just wasting my time. I go, I don't have time for this. You do it or don't do it. And people do it, or then they don't, and then they won't waste my time anymore. And so that type of directness, most people don't have the courage or gumption or whatever word. They don't have. But I know the people that aren't going to waste my time and going to invest in my company to get the word out about the brand. They're not going to waste my time. They're just going to get stuff done. They want results. That's all they want.
I guess let's backtrack a little bit. When do you think that you realized that you wanted to take this entrepreneurial, path? Was it as a child that you had, you started your own business as a child, or was it more when you were the journalist?
No, so that's what I mean. I didn't. I was an intrapreneur as a journalist. They didn't know what to do with me. They would just give me these weird jobs because I was an entrepreneur who happens to be a journalist, not a journalist who's a journalist. Big difference there. And so, again, simplify our patterns. People like me are usually aliens within their own family, aliens within their own community, and aliens within their own vertical. So, in my family, no one understood me growing up. I was always oddball. In my community, I grew up in the North Shore of Chicago. It's a pretty wealthy area. This is the cheapest, most cost-conscious, penny-pinching area. I live here and I grew up here. I'm very confident saying that. I talk to more people in Australia than I do in the North Shore. So I'm not like that. I'm not cheap. I'm not penny pinching. I'm not cost conscious. I'm visionary. No one understands me. I'm like, I don't get it. And so then in vertical, as a journalist, I didn't understand other journalists. I was just kind of floating around. So that my company is really just a search for other aliens like me who understand me. And those people are the ones that, again, are leaving these legacies because we're aliens within our own family, aliens within our own community, and aliens within our own vertical. Nobody really understands us except the top level thinking people in the world. That's just how it is. So it's a constant quest to find people who actually understand what the hell I'm talking about.
100%.
Right.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah, most people are. So there's people that don't understand this. They think it comes off as arrogance. And it's literally the exact opposite of arrogance. So here's the difference. All this is extreme confidence, not arrogance. Big difference in those two words, confidence and arrogance. And so in terms of connecting people on a global level and getting people in news at the highest level, there are very, very few people in the world who are better at it than I am. Those are my superpower genius. But other than that, I have no skills. I'm useless. I can barely install a light bulb. Things that a trained monkey could do, I have a horrible time doing, or will run out of my house to assemble anything, as opposed to assemble. So arrogant people think they can do everything, and they think they're great at everything. I'm terrible, essentially useless at almost everything in society. But at these two things, world-class genius. And so I just, 100% of my day, I just stay within my zone of genius. And so all that does is just attract other confident people, and it repels arrogant people, because they're arrogant. Not confident, they're just arrogant, and it repels them. Right.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like I think that resonates so much with me. So I was recently down in Florida with my girlfriend helping out her grandfather, and he asked her and me at one point if I could help fix something. And I looked at her, I was like, are you kidding? Like, you have such a better job of fixing this than I do. Like, no, like, really?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I sent you the link for the Kolbe test, Kolbe. It's the top test for entrepreneurs in the world. It's the Bible of Strategic Coach, which is the top entrepreneurial group in the world, led by Dan Sullivan, who's the top entrepreneurial coach who's ever lived. And so I've been in that. I'm very confident saying that because I've been in it for 2 years, and I know the people in it, and I know that it has decades of success with the top people in the world.
Yep.
And so the Kolbe test, it's not your personality. The only thing I write down with anyone is their Colby score. I don't really care about anything else, but the Colby score is a big differentiator because it's not your personality, but it's your brain strengths. It's how your brain works. And so most entrepreneurs, it's four categories. One is fact finder. I'm guessing you and I are both pretty high in that. Well, I am high in it. I don't know about you, but I'm guessing you are. Follow through. So most entrepreneurs have little to no follow through. They're all over the place, whether that's ADD or whatever. But I actually have high follow through for an entrepreneur. It's really rare. Then the other one's quick start. Boom, 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 boom. I have high quick start, but most entrepreneurs at the highest level actually have higher quick start than I do. And then assembling, building, implementer's the last score. I'd be a negative 300 gajillion for implementer. I'm a 1. So I'm the lowest implementer you could ever imagine, ever. And so I always ask people, like, oh, if you take the test, send me your score. And one, if they send it to me, that'll tell me if they have follow through or not. But two, like, that's the only thing. I just match people based on that score, because when you know your Colby, understand it, it's always a higher level of conversation, 100% of the time, not 99%, 100% of the time.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think that's really important, and I'm going to go take that test later.
That's the number one thing, because you have the right mindset, it creates the right network, creates the right opportunities. All this other stuff's just landing the plane nonsense. It's just,
so
who cares?
How would you say, people who are trying to get connected to other, high-level entrepreneurs, high-level mindset people, how would you say that they go about getting connected to them?
Okay. So, again, my two superpowers are connecting on a global level and getting people in news at a high level. So, in terms of connecting on a global level, there are very few people in the world that are better at it than I am. And Forbes just did a big article on me, not a pay-for-play nonsense. Real article about how I built a global network.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you that because I actually know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I have an unusual brain. My brain is a CRM of people, a CRM of names, a CRM of keywords, and I'll just match people, or Colby. I can just remember stuff. Most people, their brain's not a CRM. Like, I don't write anything down other than someone's Colby score. So the article was written for people that don't have CRM, to help them understand if they don't have CRM brains like mine, which most people don't.
Yeah.
So to directly answer your question with that background, I'm in 3 of the top entrepreneurial groups in the world and make big investments to be in those. Because when you're in the room with people like that, you become someone like that. One is strategic coach. If I could do only one, I would do strategic coach. I'd easily invest $50K a year in that. Easily, if not more. Good investment. I'm on the board of Entrepreneurs Organization Chicago. There's 14,000 members on a global level, and I don't care about revenue at all. It's meaningless to me, but it's a differentiator. The average revenue per company member is $5 million US, so there's serious people in that. And then I just joined Abundance 360 a couple months ago, so that was started by Dr. Peter Diamandis, who did X Prize, SpaceX, and so 99% of the folks in there are running $10 million to $10 billion businesses. People like Elon Musk are in that. So big investments, good investments. And for people that can't do that yet, then talk to people who are in those groups, and then you become people like that. And again, I'm a simplifier pattern. So here's how it works. Typically, you start a business. This is how it works. So first you get. I reached out to 5,000 people to get 5 clients. Then you start to get to give. So you're giving a little bit. You're still getting more but you're starting to give a little. Then you give to get. You're giving a lot more. You get a little, but you're giving a lot more. Then you get to the step where I'm at, is where you give to give. You just give. Just give to give, but I have the caveat with that is that I only give to the right people with those 3 attributes in their mindset.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a total waste of my time and theirs. And so to quantify that, because people like numbers, and I know this is a long answer, but this is billions, if not trillions of dollars in advice right here. So, I mean, I have 2 billionaire clients, so billions of dollars in advice, is that when you give to give, I'll quantify it. I do probably 10 every Monday through Friday, at least 10 life-changing intros on a global level. So I'll talk to someone in Australia, they'll say something interesting and be like, I know someone in Canada that thinks like that, so I'll just intro them.
Yeah.
And then a week later, they'll be like, how did you know how to do that? We're doing business together, whatever. We like each other, we're good friends. I don't know, I just know how to do it. And then I get 3 or 4 every Monday through Friday. Really good intros at the highest. Yeah, right. But that's all it is. Right mindset, right network, right opportunities. There's no outbound sales garbage or funnels or that stuff's nonsense to me. It
Yeah.
always has been.
And that's the thing I think some people don't understand. Like, for example, for me, I would love to be in those groups one day when my revenue.
Yeah, but you will. But you will. That's what I mean.
I will be. But I guess my point for now is until that happens, because at the end of the day, the end is certain. I'm not worried about my revenue getting there because I know one day it will get there. It's just
100%.
But for the time being, I surround myself and get to know people like you, like Chris Ross, like people of that mindset, of that ability. I mean, you and Chris Ross are me down the line.
Right. And I was you 3.5 years ago. I was you. Right. Exactly. So let me explain it like this. I literally started my company with 0 business background. 0. I didn't know what an LLC was. I still don't know what an S corp is. I have no idea, and I don't care. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this is a compliment. I want you to take this as a compliment.
Yeah.
So Dan Sullivan, again, greatest entrepreneurial coach who's ever lived, co-founder of Strategic Coach. He's like, have friends of all ages. Have friends of all ages. So I have friends who are in their late teens because they started entrepreneurship. I have friends in their 70s and 80s because my dad was 61 when I was born. He'd be 104 if he was alive. And so I have an old soul in a 43-year-old's body with the mentality, childishness, maturity of a 6-year-old. So I'm old soul, 43-year-old body, basically a child. My wife has 3 sons, my 2 sons and me. And so you are it's like a minor league system. It's a minor league system, and then people like you will get to the major leagues. I already know that. You're in the minor leagues now. I was in the minor leagues, but I had the mindset because I knew I was going to be in the major leagues, and that's what it is. And so I started a couple groups like that. I'll introduce you to Lisa after this. You would like it. It's like a super connectors group. And so it's like a minor league feeder system. And maybe there's 40 people in it, super connectors across the world. Hey, buddy. And 5 or 6 of them will graduate to the major leagues. I already know which ones they are. But then you keep adding to that group, and it's like, not everyone's going to make it to the major leagues, right? But the right ones will, and then the right ones become your friends. Your friends become your clients, and your clients become your friends. So there you're headed to the major leagues, and you will be, and I know you will be too. That's why I started this conversation. I'm like, I like your mindset. I'll be curious to see how your career evolves. Because I'm a futurist. I just know that's where it's going, and you do too, by the way.
Absolutely. No, thank you.
You are. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah. So. No, 100%. Like I said before, the end is certain. If you follow the path, you do what you need to do, and you have the right mindset, then you'll achieve your goals.
Right. That's it.
What other advice, just in general for someone, let's just say a young entrepreneur, would you give them for, starting their career? Just if you could give someone one piece of advice.
One, sure. Okay, so literally that's why I wrote my book, by the way. There was no intent to write the book, but I'm a high quick start, high follow through. So if the bright people tell me to do something, I just do it. I just get results, less talk, more action. And so what the book is, I'll give you this background, and then I'll give you your answer. But, October 16th, 2019 was my company's 30-month anniversary, so I posted 30 lessons, things that I learned from the top entrepreneurs in the world in my company's first 30 months. At the time, I think I had 37,000 followers, and people saw that list. They're like, you have to write a book, you have to write a book, you have to write. I'm like, okay. So wrote the book in 43 days and came out in May. It's provided endless joy and all that. It's been great. And So each chapter is one of those lessons. So there's there's 30 there's 30 good ones, but if you just want one, I'll answer it in two parts. So from the most important thing I've learned is only do what you like to do and what you're good at. If there's something I don't like to do and I'm not exceptionally good at, I either don't do it or I outsource it. So 100% of my day is doing what I like to do and what I'm good at. 0 hours of work each week. Zero. None of this is work. Zero. 0 hours of work each week. This is fun. So what people who have read the book said the most important lesson is, and because people read the book, and this is what most people have told me, is that only work with people who look at things as investments, not costs. Only work with people, partner with people that look at things as investments, not costs. If the disqualifier from being in my network, people don't know this, but they disappear. If they say it, is if they ask, what do you cost or charge within the first 5 or 10 minutes? They go away immediately. Because they're just transactional. They have no idea. They have no vision of greatness. They're just transactional. And because I see patterns of those people have never provided any value in my life, only aggravation. And if they ever did intro me to someone, it was another person who was just going to aggravate me. So the people I work with now exclusively say, what does an investment with you look like? They don't even really ask that. They're just like, how do we want to partner with you? Let's do this. That's what I do. So
that's so true. I find that I feel like in most industries and most businesses, when someone right off the bat says, oh, what do you charge? What do you cost? You don't want them as a client.
No, 100%. Not usually, 100%. It's an immediate. So I am black and white. There is no gray. My wife is all gray, which is fascinating to me. There's black and white, and most of the entrepreneurs at the highest level, they're black and white. So that's not one of those people has ever added any value to my life. Nothing, and. Like you said, you do not want that type of person. And so here's what happens. When you raise your rates exponentially, like triple, quadruple, quintuple your rates, you weed out all those people. And all you do is attract serious people who want to invest. And then you might have a smaller number of clients at first, but they're investing a lot more, so you're actually making more money. And then those people with the right mindset will introduce you to more people like that because they're collaborative, not competitive. And so then it just grows. And that's what my company is. It's just tens of thousands of people with that mindset. That's all it is.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you for coming on. Any, last words you have for people, and additionally, where can people find you on social media and learn more about you?
Sure. So the book is called Epic Business, and it's anywhere you can find books. And then nearing 25,000 followers on connections on LinkedIn. So Justin Breen on LinkedIn, and I think I mentioned my company's name one time, which I always think it's funny because we never talk about my company in these interviews. But that doesn't matter. That's just landing the plane stuff. But the company's name is BrEpic. So Justin Breen on LinkedIn is the best way to find me.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm sure my listeners will get a lot out of this interview.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. You're rocket ship to greatness, man. So it'll be interesting to listen to this a year from now and see where you're at.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it at all, if you got one thing out of it, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you.